Brendan Anderson here with Empower You Network, and it's a pleasure and a privilege. I'm here with fantastic Negrito from the Bay Area. He's one of the huge musicians out there right now. He's in the top 10 in the iTunes blues for the UK and the US. He's just blowing up the spot right now, riding the wave. We really thank you for taking out for the time tonight and sitting with us and us getting to know a little bit more about you. We know that you grew up originally in Massachusetts for your adolescent years, yes. Came out to Oakland, and then after growing up in Oakland for a while, moved to LA for more of a professional. How has it been for you going from the East Coast to the West Coast, and how has that kind of influenced you as a person as well as your music?
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you to Empower You for having me. It's an honor and a privilege to build and connect with anybody in the Bay Area, because I'm a huge advocate for the Bay Area, and y'all are too. So I just want to thank you for having me. You know, I was born in New England, very waspy, white New England, and you know, I was a little out of place there. And I moved to Oakland when I was about 11 years old, or maybe 12 years old, and moved right here, like near East 18th, boom, from New England right into East Oakland. So it was quite an event, and it was, I think it's something that has really added textures, layers to who I became as a person and as a musician, because when I got here to Oakland, it was back in 1980. I'm pretty old. What happened, it just was so explosive and so magnetic and huge that I literally didn't come back home. I never saw my dad again. He passed away during that time, but I just decided to just run on the streets with kids that I had met, because it was just so much happening culturally, musically. It was the beginning of hip hop and the punk rock, kind of all just meeting, you know, and colliding out in the streets. And there's a lot of the Oakland street culture that I just soaked up. And I wasn't even a musician at that time, but the things that were going on deeply influenced who I am today. And I always call the Bay Area the greatest tribe in the world.
So do you feel that being part of the Oakland street culture, the Bay Area street culture, that it is very enticing, that street culture, especially opposed to school culture, where a lot of times our young people get bored, honestly?
Yeah, and I think that's the fault of the school system. Me, myself, personally, I don't know if people are going to throw tomatoes at me for saying that, but I think I was a kid who people wrote off. I was in reform schools, continuation schools. I was in juvenile hall. I grew up in foster care all throughout Oakland. So the system wrote me off a long time ago. And I think that there are good people who really cared about children. And once I came in contact with some of those people, like programs like Upward Bound, then my life changed. And it was the adults and the people who were teachers, and maybe not in the traditional sense of the school system, but they were role models and they were teachers. When they showed me that, look, man, we care and you have value. All these children out here have value, and it's up to us adults to help empower them and to shine that light. And it was just, to me, I felt like it was the culture of the Bay Area, that progressiveness that helped reel me back in, and people saw my potential. And my foster mother at the end, and may she rest in peace, Rose Willis, who worked at the University of California, Berkeley, who saw the potential in me and became a foster parent and brought me home into her house. And these are just, like I said, the progressive attitude of the Bay Area and the culture of the Bay Area is amazing. Kids are amazing. It's just up to adults. We have to shine the light. And kind of what you're doing, empower you, empowering youth. It's amazing. And I applaud you.
Well, thank you very much. And you're one of the role models and the real models that we want to shine the light on, so we can show other students coming out of Oakland you can still do great things, even if sometimes the school system doesn't bring you up in a way that is very supportive. So in terms of your musical progression, you're at the height right now of really building what you've done over all these years. Can you tell us a little bit about when you started out and what kind of music you were into and how you progressed?
Well, I think I started out just trying to play instruments because I was a big fan of Prince back in the day, and I looked up, how did Prince learn? Oh, he taught himself, so I would go and try to teach myself. I would never be an accomplished instrumentalist the way Prince was, but at least it gave me something to shoot for. And I think for young folks, you always need that. You need high standards, something that seems impossible, an artist that seems off into the stratosphere. It's good to have them as a role model or as a mark to reach a certain level. And I started off just learning how to program beats and learning how to play piano and a little bit of guitar. And I instantly was a pretty good songwriter, so I was able to roll with that. But, I never cared about genres at all, genres of music. I just thought it was fascinating music itself. And my taste was probably pretty eclectic because of my father. It ranged from classical, the Boston Pops and Tchaikovsky, to Afro-Caribbean, to Harry Belafonte, to Louis Armstrong, St. Louis Blues, and then coming to Oakland and being exposed to Parliament Funkadelic and Too Short and Prince and Rick James and all this amazing music that was happening. Super Rhyme from San Francisco for us old school KPRO listeners. I mean, there was just so much amazing music that helped shape what I'm doing now. And what I'm doing now, I call it Black Roots music because, and for everyone, Black Roots music for everyone, because it's such a fabric, such an important part of our musical journey as American people is this Black Roots music. People are relating to it because it's part of our story. It's part of the legacy of this country. And this great music that came out of slavery and the transatlantic slavery, which was horrible, but great music came out of it and great culture. And we should hold our heads high up. And we got a lot of heroes like Robert Johnson, Skip James, R.L. Burnside, and I call myself Fantastic Negrito because when people ask, why do I call myself Fantastic Negrito, I'm able to say Skip James. I'm able to say Robert Johnson. I'm able to say Son House. I'm able to say these amazing, amazing, amazing masters of Black American music, Black Roots music, which was blues, which became soul and funk and hip hop and house or whatever it came. When you listen to someone like Robert Johnson, you hear like, man, he's kind of an MC. Like you hear those rhythms, you hear those lyrics, and I want to shine the light on them, not me, because I'm this small compared to them, and we should be really proud of them. And I want, especially Black folks, to know who those people are.
Yeah. Well, that is very important to pay homage, especially knowing the culture of where they've come from. What's really deep for me too is how you've talked about your rebirth throughout your life and things that have changed your life. Can you talk a little bit about your life situations and how that has really touched the creativity of your music?
Well, I like to think of myself as three parts. There was the kid growing up here in the Bay Area, born in New England, that couldn't really find a place. I was kind of a square, but I was out in the streets. It was quite an anomaly, and I went to Los Angeles, and that was the first part. I signed $1 million record deal with Interscope. It was amazing. Yeah, it was big, and then nothing happened. That pretty much killed my creative life because I was in the matrix, I was in the system, and I didn't understand the way music business works. So that was the first part. I think the second part was that deal coming to an end, and I ended up in a coma 3 weeks, which damaged my playing hand, which I now call the claw. But that was the second part where I became this kind of independent artist, and I started licensing my music and films, and I started these different incarnations of myself musically, names such as Chocolate Butterfly, Me and This Japanese Guy, Soul Pony, and Blood Sugar X. I would write music within the confines of these different incarnations of myself, and I licensed my music in in movies like Leprechauns in the Hood, Medea Goes to Jail. I can do Bad by Myself, Girlfriends, Barbershop. I was able to get over 60, 70 placements. Burn Notice. I can go down the list, so many of them. Good Wife. And so that was the second part of my life. And then then I quit, came back home to the Bay Area. I was done. I felt like I had nothing else to say as an artist, and I decided to have a child. And my son was born, and that was the third part. It was one day I couldn't put my son to sleep, and I had one guitar left underneath his little couch, his orange little love seat. I don't know why I had an orange love seat in my infant's room, but I did. Perhaps to make more love. Right. But it was amazing. I picked the guitar up and I played an open G, and the look on my son's face it made me want to cry. Wow. It made me scared. It made me confused about what was that? Why does he react to music like that? Like, I hate music. It burned me. I hate the industry. But such a little fella taught me, like, Dad, it's okay. Music is beautiful. It's a language of humanity, man. You better pick that guitar up. You better get back out there. You got something to tell the world with all the experiences that you've survived, being the key word, and you need to go tell people. You owe it to humanity. Your life was spared. And that's the third part. And then this became Fantastic Negrito, another, perhaps the final incarnation, I hope. And I just hit the streets playing the guitar. And with photographer Eric Taylor followed me around the Bay Area and got some really good photos and some great footage of me. And I had a collective this time. This time I was part of a collective, which is Blackball Universe in Oakland, California. And the idea was that we can't do it alone. Individualism, it just doesn't work. That we need people to support us, and we need to support people and give back. And along with people like Malcolm Spellman and Field, people in the collective, we were able to support each other and make it work this time and give up some power. It's not all about you. Listen to other people. And within that process, we are now producing the show and the series Empire on Fox. Wow. Malcolm Spellman's a producer on that show.
Yeah, it's huge.
And we produce Fantastic Negrito, and we got the opening theme to Hand of God, which is written by Berkeley's own Ben Watkins. So it's just thinking of that idea of a collective really works. You get everyone together and you vote on what's good for everyone. And if it's good, you do it. If it's not, you don't.